Okay, is that audio then? Yeah. Okay, thank you guys for joining us today. So my name is Sherman and I'll be the moderator for today's Hangout. So before we begin, I would like to actually tell you more about the purpose of this Hangout, and it's actually more about the Google Squared program that we are currently conducting, and also about the data analytics landscape in Singapore. So a few things that I need to highlight to you guys is that this Hangout will be approximately 30 minutes long, and we would like to keep this as interactive as possible. So if you guys have any questions that you want to ask, feel free to place all these questions in the Q&A panel on the right. And alternatively, you can actually email to squared-data-singapore@google.com, and I'll get some of my colleagues to actually reply to them individually. So today I have with me three speakers. So Tom is a current Googler, and two other Google Squared trainees from the current program. So you guys might want to give a short intro about yourselves. Wait, please. Yeah.
Hi guys, my name is Wei-Wen. I graduated from NTU last year. I studied in business. I majored in marketing. And what made me join the program was I felt that this was an up-and-coming industry, this whole data analytics industry. And I felt that the skills being taught in this program is very transferable. Yeah, so right now, as part of the program, I'm attached to TBWA, which is the top 10 global advertising agency.
Hi everyone, I'm Pauline. I graduated from SMU last year with a double degree in operations management and psychology. So through my studies, I kind of figured that data is everywhere and it's being used in almost every field. And so that was when I knew that data and analytics is really the place to be. And this program is a structured way to fast track me into the field. And yeah, so right now I'm with PhD, a media agency.
Cool. Hey guys, my name is Thomas. I've been with Google now for about 4 years. First in Europe and then now here in Singapore. And what I do is basically like the data guy, the analytics guy at Google here in Singapore. And I'm also a mentor, trainer on the Squared program. So we're talking later a bit on what to expect, what does it take to become a really good analyst and stuff. So looking forward to the hangout today.
Great. So actually, to start off, one of the biggest questions on everyone's mind is how is the data analytics panning out in Singapore right now, and what kind of career prospects or what can we see for in the next 3 to 5 years if we were to embark on this this path? So maybe Tom, you would like to share more about some of your opinions on this question.
So next, like the career path.
Yeah, and also like data analytics landscape in the next 3 to 5 years.
Maybe so it's two questions.
Yes.
Okay. So I think on the first one, on the landscape, the next 3 to 5 years, look, in Singapore, it's a fairly new industry. Myself, I work with a lot of clients in the large advertiser space. Not many of them are very advanced. So in the next 3 to 5 years, long story short, there'll be a lot of career opportunities coming up. There's a broadcast, 2 days ago of China News Asia predicting that by 2020, Singapore is around 2,500 more people like the 25 like you.
Yeah.
So from a career perspective, long story short, it's going to be quite rosy, but still going to be a little learning that we'll have to be embarking on. Second one, was on. Second one was
in the next 3 to 5 years.
Career path.
Yeah,
career path. Okay. Look, it really depends on you. One thing you can be is just become like an analyst, the brain behind any media company. You work for an airline, you work for a travel agency, you work for a bank, and you answer the questions what basically the C-level should be doing. So the strategic consultant in a company, that could be one thing, super awesome already. But what we also do with this program is we train individuals like yourselves also on leadership presentation skills. And the reason we do that is, analyst is good already, but imagine you have the analyst skills and can also tell stories and turn that into actionable decisions for C-level. And that career path can take you to anything up. If you look at the media, the industry, sort of what's forming in next 3 to 5 years as well as it's kind of a new C-level called CIO, Chief Information Officer. So that could be something from a a high level, and then it really goes answering questions. If you're the guy who can and find the problem, great. If you can tell it in a nice way, even better. So if you were to consult, if you were a future leader in the future, and you not only knew how to find the problem, but you can also say, hey, this is the problem. If we fix it, this will be the quantifiable business impact. Hey, CEO, you do this, and we'll make X amount of money this year. Are you interested? Yes. Okay, let's go. So that skill set of transferring the knowledge into a one sentence, no numbers anymore. Just like, here, dear CEO, do this because X amount of money. That's a skill set we also train with this program. So long story short, a lot of career opportunities. It also depends on you guys. We give you with this program everything you kind of need, and you figure out for yourself what it is that you want to do. But there will be a lot of jobs I do expect in Singapore, and then even in other regions, I feel like Indonesia or a lot coming up.
Okay. One of the questions that the audience have actually asked are, what are the list of topics that will actually be covered in this course? So in terms of like the experience that you have, or in terms of the training that you guys actually get, so can you share a little bit more about this experience in your host company?
Okay, some of the experience that I have from my point of view, it's for TBWA. I was attached to TBWA, so TBWA does advertising, the stuff that you see on the web, see on print advertisements, or even on TV. So we come up with the whole advertising process and how data comes into play. So for TBWA, what we do is we aggregate data that we can see of what people are talking about our brands. So be it like cultural triggers, or be it topics that are trending about certain brands. And we aggregate all this data and we turn them into compelling ideas for our clients. And once we have all these ideas, we pass it on to the creatives who will then create all those advertisements for our clients. And that's one way that we use data from day to day. Another way is that once the advertisement campaigns are completed, we analyze the results of these campaigns, we analyze the data, and from there we try to find actionable insights, how the clients can save money on a certain way, how can they increase conversion on certain ways, like basically optimize their campaigns for the future. And these are just some ways of we implement data in our industry, the creative industry.
So I think it's great that Wei Wen shared his experience at TBWA. And I think for the 6 weeks of training, the list of topics we covered is really very broad. So it starts from like descriptive, statistics, diagnostic, predictive, and then prescriptive. So it really gives you the broad base. So about data management, we also looked at how ETL extract, transform, and load. And we did things like text analytics, time series analytics. It's really a lot of topics being covered. And I think the other thing is that you're being exposed to a lot of tools as well. So be it Tableau for data visualization, Google Analytics for web analytics, R, statistic tools. Yeah.
Python as well, right?
Python, not as
Not really a lot of Python. Actually, no
It
Python.
depends on
what the company is.
So actually another question that I think most of them are trying to ask is, how is the selection process like to join this program? Are we allowed to answer that?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have any insights for them to? This is a very tough question because
How are you selected to join the program?
how are we selected?
Okay, maybe I'll just talk about the process itself.
Yeah.
So of course, first you have to apply. And then if you're shortlisted, then there will be one round of interview. And after that interview, you will have a technical exercise. So you'll be given about 2 to 3 days to complete this. And it's really just for us to see, your way of thinking, that thought process that you go through, and get a flavor of, what you can do with big data. So that's the process itself.
I guess maybe some people may be thinking, what if I don't have statistics background or strong maths background? I mean, many of us in this program are not really from statistics background or even from computer science to begin with. Like, I'm a business student, she's also team from business in SMU. So what I think is that having that right attitude and willing to learn is one of the most important things that they're looking out for, because even though you are new at the subject, there's a lot of help and a lot of assistance that's available to you in this program. As long as you're willing to learn, the help will be provided. And it also helps to have some kind of analytical mind. Of course, that will benefit your progress in this program. So some computational thinking could definitely be beneficial. But it's not like you're expected to be able to code out the entire program or like hard code into R programming and display all kinds of visualization out of the box. I don't think that's what they're looking for. Ultimately, this is a program to train graduates, not really right from the start expecting you to perform right from day one.
And I think the other part of it is that with in this program, we kind of look at diversity. So precisely because there's such a diverse background among top peers, whatever field it is, there's someone to share and help you along with it. Yeah.
Right. So for some, I mean, you are a trainer or a mentor on this program. So what are some of the, from your point of view, right? What are some of the key attributes that you think like an applicant should have or a prospective data analyst should have before they embark on this journey?
So the good point was actually that it doesn't require, it can be like psychology or math or engineering, it doesn't really matter. I think one of the key traits that is just like an eager to learn, as you said, and also I know for myself and other analysts that I work with, you see a problem and this inner urge that you got to fix it, and you just cannot understand if people don't see the problem, and then you have to just fix it and come up with a solution. I think that's a trait that really helps a lot in this field. Other than that, geeks are fine, but as I said, geeks that can talk are even better, specifically the types of leaders we also want to form with this program. If not, no worries, we also have those presentation classes in, yeah, I mean, that's about it, I think.
So practically anyone with any background can actually participate in this program?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it does help if you, I would say you interact daily with your phone, you buy plane tickets, you'll know when you come to this program, everything will start kind of making sense. As in, we're consumers in a way, but when we go to the business world, we're trying to make the life of people like us easier. So it'll be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Okay, another question, a simple one, but a little tricky. How are you guys actually allocated to the companies? Like you were saying, like you're from TBWA and you were from PhD.
Yeah.
So how do you guys actually choose a company, or do the companies actually choose the candidates? Do you guys know anything about this?
So I guess right from the interview process, one of the people interviewing you will ask you to give a preference of which industry you like to go in. You like to move into the finance sector, you want to go to the media. So you can give your preference over there. And after that, they will analyze the way you do the assessment test, the exercise, and they'll see what is a better fit for you. Right? That's pretty much how I perceive the selection process to be.
And I think to start with the list of companies, like there are three main criteria that the program looks at to rope them in as partners. So firstly, it's about how strong is analytics to them. I mean, like, do they actually pay attention to it? Is this part of what they do day to day? Secondly would be because ultimately it's a mentorship, right? So the other thing that will be looked at is whether in these companies, is there a strong mentorship? Is there a strong mentor that can be allocated to the trainee? And last but not least, because ultimately what we want is for trainees to carry on, and be employable. So the third thing that is looked at is whether these companies would have positions to offer after the program.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like for you guys in the marketing agencies as well as Tom and Google, like beyond the marketing and ad analytics, are there any other stuff that this program actually teaches the candidates, or do you actually mentor them in certain areas of analytics like machine learning or even deep learning or neural networks to the extent of like the hardcore analytics?
Okay. The mentorship can really be from a simple question like how does analytics work towards how to integrate tools like BigQuery to, in theory, also, how do I solve this in the company? So it really can be anything. It depends on the company. A branding agency might have lower requirements from a data perspective, as you said, than say a big company from Rocket Internet. But mentorship can be literally a guy or a girl that are really there to answer any questions and make sure the trainings are successful in their companies, and also in a part do get a job and help kind of on that career coaching part as well.
So for you guys, if there's one project or one task that you did in your host company, and it's like beyond marketing and analytics, is there something that you have done in your respective host companies? Like a project that is super cool, super interesting that you want to share with the people out here? Right?
Okay, maybe not super cool, but I
I
guess
mean,
it used
subjective. Yeah.
I guess maybe it was cool when I was coding it. I felt that it was exciting, but maybe not to everyone. So maybe one example was how I tried to tie in some data into improving the value. Creating value for the company was in terms of for the HR point of view, because one way I was thinking of is that, let's say you want to find out what's the morale in the company. Like one way would be to send surveys to people and all, but sending a survey has a lot of high barriers to participation. Like people may not answer the truth, like they think that the name is online, or they may just find it too burdensome, like so many questions to answer. So one of the solutions that I tried it out in the company was I created this simple program that can run on Android screens that can be placed around the office. So what this program is about is that it's made up of four smiley icons. So you get from one end you get the biggest smiley face, then you get a smile face, the sad face, and a crying face. So the question is just like, how are you today? So you just need to tap. So by tapping on it, the screen will like just say a little message like cheer up or like awesome, something like that. Then you go back to the four smiley face again. So you place this in like on the pantry, you place it in like walkway inside the office. And because it's just like a very easy one tap away to find out the answer. So we started off that way. We get to plot the graph across the days, like how people are feeling across the days. But this idea can also transform to more than just how they're feeling for the day. For example, we just finished the Christmas party at our agency in December. So we can just change the question into, let's say the party was on Friday, so we can change the question on Monday, like, so how was the party? Like, is it awesome? Like four answers. So just one tap, you can get an answer. It's a good way, it's like a pulse survey kind of thing. You can just quickly get a sense of what's going on in the company. So this is something that I felt use a little bit of analytics, because the technology behind it is stuff that we learn in the program, like SQL, creating SQL queries, how to use PHP to tap on and build all this into the database. So I thought it was very useful. So like things that you learn in the program, you can play around with it on yourself, use your creativity, and come up with interesting products that can increase value for the company in many ways.
Great. Yeah. Pauline, you want to share with us like on a typical day in this course, right?
Yeah.
What kind of topics are actually covered during the training, and what kind of things do you actually do even like in the host company? Like, you can just describe briefly.
Okay, I think just now we kind of touched on what kind of topics are covered in the 6 weeks of training.
Sure.
So maybe I'll move on a bit more to what we do at the company. So in any job, of course, you will have part of it being like day-to-day operations. So for me, I'm working on 2 campaigns, and for that, what we do is campaign reporting as well as campaign optimization. And on top of that, because it's a structured program, my mentor actually gives me the liberty to initiate projects. So one of the projects I'm working on is actually building a predictive model to predict the number of responses to a lead generation campaign. So what this is really is just, when you land on a page and you leave your contact, that would be considered one response. So through this predictive model, what we are able to look at is, which factors actually do affect the final outcome, which is the number of responses. So, to sum it up, it's really part of it is day-to-day, and then the other part of it is working on projects that you want to implement. Yeah.
Okay, I think this is a very technical question. So, does the technical background actually, like say engineering or computing, a degree in computing or engineering, have an advantage over non-technical degrees, or does it actually affect the gender ratio in this program? Very tricky.
Yes, it doesn't help to have a strong technical background, let's say in computer science, because some of the languages that we learn in this analytics program, such as like R programming, use this rather much a similar computational thinking compared to like Python, where you have variables and all that stuff. So it doesn't really help if you have I'll say that definitely you have an advantage in a certain way. Like you don't need to spend so much time to get up to speed into some of the stuff that is going on in a program. But then the other hand, if you come from a non-technical background, like we even have someone from environmental engineering in the program. I mean, the different way of thinking, like it's a really huge added advantage in this whole industry because you can bring yourself. I mean, you can add value whereby maybe someone in a computer science background may not be so good at, or may not have that kind of thinking compared to from your training environmental engineering. So you can add that kind of interesting perspective. That's where you can add value to, and that's two advantage. So I'd say that there's both. You can go both ways.
And I would say like technical skills are something you can build up quite easily over time, given the resources that you have access to. So as in it's true that I mean to a certain extent it would help along the way. It might make it easier, but I mean for me when I came in with zero technical background in engineering or computing, I mean, it was fine. It was fine. I mean, I have peers to help me along as well. So, yeah.
So what do you think? Because for me, I think like analytics, there's different aspects to it, right? There's the technical area, there is the narrative where you need to convey what you have actually churned out to the clients and make sure that they understand it. So from a point of view, like as what you're doing in Google, which part do you think is like of key importance?
So everything is important, of course. However, what I've seen is that for some people it's harder to learn the technical. For some people it's harder to do the narrative. I started off I studied marketing, psychology, IT, so it's kind of like both in a way. At Google, then I was in the advertising, then the whole IT space. So for me, the data part was stronger. It took me a bit when I came into this role to be able to tell the narratives and adjust the messaging of the narrative to, say, a day-to-day marketer, advertising agency, a CMO, a CEO, very different messaging. That was my personal learning process. I think, look, it doesn't really matter if you have the marketing skills, the IT skills. This program is designed that you have everyone kind of, you guys even have a WhatsApp group, right? Yeah. So you like text each other, hey, I want to know this answer.
Yeah.
So some people struggle here, some people struggle there, but we'll try and make everyone like a superstar, right? Obviously.
Cool. So some of the companies like TBW and PhD, what are some of the other companies that are participating in this program? So some of your peers actually moved on to some other companies?
Like DBS or even GIC, one of the past alumni in this program. And even something like Tech in Asia. Other companies are like NCS, which is in the telecommunication. And
okay, so I think just to clarify, GIC and Tech in Asia were companies that our alumni actually moved on to. But in this program itself, NCS, like you mentioned, DBS as well, TripAdvisor, Expedia.
So it covers a huge range.
Yeah, huge range. I mean, telco, bank, e-commerce. Yeah. So
I think we probably need to wrap it up. So I think before we actually end this session, right? Would you guys like to share just one advice for these people, like if they were to embark on this data analyst career, right? One single advice for them. We would like to share it to these people. So any advice, like how you actually go about doing it?
I would say really one thing is just to keep an open mind and absorb as much as possible from people around you. Because in this program, like the people that we are exposed to have so much experience. And if you just have a great attitude towards learning, you're gonna just keep gaining more and more. And that's what's gonna push you through your journey in this field. Yeah.
Yeah, similar to Pauline, I also agree that I think an open mind of trying to learn as much as you can is probably what I'll say is really, really important and will help you to do well in this program. Because oftentimes the problems at the day-to-day work, we may not have the training that was given to us, and we have to seek others' opinion or advice, or even search online how to solve it. So having an open mind to be able to do all this, I think, is something it's good to have.
Yeah, maybe just to add one last point, is that it's about keeping it collaborative, because when you bring people along with you, like for instance, if you teach your colleagues who are not as I don't know, proficient in data and analytics, you kind of build up the knowledge within your company and you kind of pull everyone along with you, and that's where value is created. Yeah. So I'd
Do
say-
you have anything there?
Maybe like a similar note, but it doesn't stop at the data analytics side. That I was mentioning earlier. Ideally, one day you'll be able to present this to say a C-level as well. So if you have the data skills, you found the problem. Ideally, you would want to find the solution as well. Now, if you found, for example, that social media campaigns were really bad, and you found the problem that the problem is, say, with Google Plus or with YouTube, and it was this specific post that was bad, you would want to find out what the problem was, but also how you should be doing it differently. So give recommendations to a social media team, an IT team, email marketing team, and all that. So what helps with that is also to know, say, if you want to make a recommendation on how to improve Google AdWords. Knowing from Google AdWords helps. If you know a bit about social media, how do you set up a campaign, say on Facebook? It really helps to know that as well. So look left and right in terms of what do these different teams in a company care about. Because finding the problem is one thing, but what's going to differentiate you and set you ahead in your career is like, okay, I found the problem, but here's what you should do. And here's the money it's going to make you. And that just requires looking left and right. You're not going to learn it in a day or two. But again, the collaborative point is what this program is really about. Yeah.
Excellent. So I think we've come to the end of this Hangout session. So if you guys have any more questions, please feel free to actually email to scrap-data-singapore@google.com, and hopefully you can answer those questions soon. If for any more updates about this program, please visit the Google website. We'll put it into the Q&A panel, and we'll see you soon. Yeah. Thank you.